Before watching today's program, please complete Exercise 1 in Unit 4. We'll see you back here in a few minutes.
When asked if you have enough time, is your answer yes? If so, you're in a very small minority of supervisors and people in general. Each of us has exactly the same amount of time, yet few of us ever seem to have enough of it. Most of us probably wish for a time extension every day, just to catch up on the other facets of life we're missing. When we notice that some people seem to accomplish more in a day than 3 average people, we begin to realize that the problem doesn't lie with the actual number of hours we have available. Instead, the problem lies in how well we utilize the time that we do have. You may have heard the phrase, time is our most valuable resource. You know that resources are things to be used wisely. But time is a particularly unique resource. We can't save it for a rainy day or accumulate it like raw materials. Machines can be turned off and on, and people can be replaced, but time continues its march at a fixed rate, 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours a day, 168 hours a week. Unlike other resources, time can never be replaced. Fortunately, we can exercise a degree of control over how we use our time resources. Raw materials, energy, and other resources can be managed wisely or misused, and time is no different. Alec McKenzie, a prominent consultant on time management, puts it this way: time is our scarcest resource. Unless it is managed well, nothing else can be managed. Although managing time isn't an accurate phrase, we can learn to manage ourselves in relation to time. Once we understand this principle, we're on our way to solving a wide variety of problems. When we think about how we lose time, each of us likes to feel our problems are unique. There are numerous similarities, however, in the problems associated with managing time at all levels of supervision. One study asked 6 different groups of high-level supervisors in several parts of the world to draw up lists of their major time wasters. When compared, the lists were almost identical. Here's a list of the major time wasters according to these supervisors in rank order. Number 1, telephone interruptions. Number 2, drop-in visitors. Number 3, meetings both scheduled and unscheduled. 4, crisis situations for which no plans could be made. Fifthly, lack of objectives, priorities, and deadlines for those objectives. 6, cluttered desk and personal disorganization. 7, ineffective delegation and involvement in routine and detail. 8, attempting too much at once with unrealistic time estimates. 9, confused responsibility and authority relationships. 10, inadequate, inaccurate, and delayed information. 11, indecision and procrastination. 12, lack of or unclear communication and instructions. 13, the inability to say no. 14, leaving tasks unfinished. And 15, lack of self-discipline. There were many more, of course, but these were the top 15. You'll notice that the people tended to blame others for their poor use of time. Outside causes are usually blamed for poor time management until we're reminded that we ourselves have the most control over each day's hours. Knowledge of our own ineffectiveness is painful and a difficult insight, but one we all have to grasp if we're to overcome our time-wasting habits. Pogo, the famous cartoon character, once remarked sadly yet wisely, "We has met the enemy, and they is us."
Before watching this tape, you made a list of your own worst time wasters. It's now time to look at them again and compare them to the list you just saw, which was identified by top managers around the world as their own serious time wasters. You'll now find it interesting and useful to look at your own list in Exercise 1. Identify which of the items are caused by you and which you could better control.
Let's talk about some of the myths about work that seem to get in our way when it comes to managing our time more effectively. First of all, there's the myth of working hard. Some people believe that hard work equals long hours, but in the words of the musical Porgy and Bess, it ain't necessarily so. I'm sure you know some of the dangers in working too many hours. Personal efficiency usually drops rapidly after 8 hours of work. Long hours also encourage supervisors to put off doing what should be done in a normal workday. After all, we reason, I can do that tonight. It's easy to see how 8 hours of work can easily stretch into 12 hours or more. Working too many hours can also have serious effects on the supervisor's family life. If supervisors are willing to neglect family for jobs, they must be willing to pay a price. If your small child asks for an appointment to see you, you have some important business to take care of away from your job. Another popular myth about time and work is, the harder I work, the more I get done. This phenomenon is commonly called the buckets of sweat syndrome, because some people seem to believe their results are directly proportional to the buckets of sweat they generate at work. It would be more correct to paraphrase the old maxim, the faster I go, the behinder I get. There is no direct relationship between hard work and positive results. A final fallacy which can interfere with effective time use is the notion that the most active person always gets the best results. However, if you observe carefully, you'll notice many people who seem busy and important but have lost sight of their goals and are vigorously pursuing a path that leads nowhere. Please don't be taken in by these popular myths. They can only serve to defeat you in your efforts to manage your time better. Before you can use your time more effectively, you must know how to use it now. Keeping a time log or inventory is a useful device for cataloging your activities and discovering what's really wasting your time on a daily basis. When you begin to log your time, you may have some surprises in store. Trying to log a typical week is useless, for there really is no such thing as a typical week. Every week brings something new, assignments, new objectives, new problems, and the astute supervisor must learn to plan for a non-routine event that will continually occur. This is a sample time log which you can adapt to your own personal needs. The time log can be a simple but valuable tool if you follow these steps. First, set up time categories. Decide upon broad, general categories of time-consuming activities. For example, inspection, job assignment, paperwork, problem solving, correspondence, telephoning, and the inevitable wasted time are good categories. Now decide what percentage of your day you wish to devote to each of these activities. Place the categories and your estimated percentages in the allocation column. Second, set goals for each day. Before leaving work in the afternoon, list the goals you wish to accomplish the following day and arrange them in order of priority. Write your goals down, making sure they are in order of importance. Next, keep a record of your time. Using 15-minute intervals, record what you actually do during the day. If you wait until the end of the day to fill in the time log, you will deceive yourself, for the time memories of daily events are very short and usually very inaccurate. You may wish to use the numbers assigned to your allocation categories to save time. For instance, if you inspected the packaging assembly line at 1 o'clock, write assembly in the large box and 1 in the small box. Now, keep records for at least a week and summarize. After a week, add up the total number of hours spent in each category and figure the percentage of your time actually spent in these activities. If you can keep records for at least 2 weeks, you will have a more accurate indication of your time usage. Then it will be time to compare percentage estimates with your actual time percentages. To see how effective you have been at meeting your daily and weekly goals, compare your estimates of time spent in each category with the actual amount of time spent. If you have devoted more than 30% of your ideal estimated time in meeting your chosen goals, you have exceeded the estimated national average. The last step is to evaluate your use of time. In which areas are you the most effective in your use of time? Where are you the least effective? Determine which areas need improvement in time management and draw up a strategy for using your time in these areas more effectively. Begin to put your strategy into operation immediately. It might interest you to know that after monitoring their time for 2 weeks, many supervisors find that much of their time is spent on routine work which could be delegated to someone else. You may find that you talk frequently with the same people about the same subjects, or that many of your phone calls and visits are not that important after all? After finishing your chart, did you find that you had any time for thinking or planning? A little earlier in our discussion, we talked about how many of our time wasters are internal, the result of personal habit. Changing behavior is often a matter of breaking out of old habits and developing new ones. That takes practice, determination, and constant attention. If you follow these steps in acquiring new time use habits, it may make the task a little bit easier. First, begin a strong campaign against the old habit. Start a routine which sharply contrasts with the old one. Remind yourself continually of your intentions to change. Make public announcements of your new routine. Tell your friends about it. Every day you successfully apply the new routine makes it more difficult for the old habit to recur. Second, don't tolerate exceptions until your new habit is firmly established. It is much easier to maintain control from the start than to recover control once it is lost. If you slip at the beginning, you may become immediately discouraged. But if you never give in to your old desires, they will die quickly and honorably. Last, begin changing your behavior as soon as you resolve to change. Don't wait until next week to begin restructuring your time. If you've identified your major time leaks and have resolved to plug them, begin to do so right away. By following these simple suggestions, you're going to be on your way to discovering those extra hours in the day you need for self-fulfillment and job excellence.
You're now going to see 3 new supervisors several weeks after they've started their new jobs. In order to help them be effective, their training department has coached them extensively on good habits of time management. As you watch them, jot down all of the effective techniques you notice. After each scene, review the time management methods you observed and determine their applicability and practicality on your own job.
This whole idea is very...
They'll give these things to people. I think they're going to
believe us stay for a whole meeting, but either stay as long as they can.
Thank you. Okay, folks, we get going here. Because this is our first staff meeting, and because I know that you're all busy and you've got jobs to go back to, I'm going to try and get right down to business. I've been on the job now for a little while, and I think it's important that we stop at this point and we assess exactly where the department is. And we look at some goals and objectives for the coming year. There are not a whole lot of them. I have them here, but they're very important. And I sincerely hope that you will agree and that you'll work with us to support them and bring them to fulfillment. Frank McDowell and I agree on these goals, and as a matter of fact, I've asked Frank to attend this meeting in case you might have any questions on divisional procedure or any other questions that might come up. Frank.
Well, first of all, I would really like to thank you for inviting me, Mom. You know, no one's ever done this for the department before, and I think it'll definitely set some priorities that we can all follow.
Priorities. Yeah, priorities. I hear a lot of that word priorities, and that's exactly what we're going to do here today. We are going to set some priorities, and we are going to live with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that this can be a very good thing, if we can all agree, right? Yeah. But it's too bad Dennis isn't here, Marv. Dennis needs to be here for this meeting.
That's right, Janet. But Dennis isn't here, and I couldn't hold the meeting off any longer. When he gets back, I'll run this all by him.
Okay.
Okay, I think we'll agree that the prime purpose of our department is the quality processing of any substance that's supplied to us in a timely manner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go on to some of these objectives. These are objectives for the coming year that'll help us in the growth of our department and the improvement of our service. Objective number 1, we're going to increase the staff by 2. We'll have 2 more people helping you, and we want to do that by this summer. Okay. Objective number 2, we're finally going to replace those centrifuges. We're going to do that one by next month. Objective number 3, going to computerize all the data. I want to have that online in the computer system by January. Okay, those are our objectives. Now, to get to some of the priorities, I think we'll agree that stat requests should be treated with prime priority as they come in a given day. Our second priority is going to be blood work, of course, because we all know the problems with contamination. The third priority will be the other orders that come in and the requests in the order in which Margaret logs them in. Those are our priorities. Okay, any problems, questions so far?
Well, I think it's really great that we've got this all official and written down, Marvin. It'll help when we start arguing with our customers out there. But one thing we ought to do is is establish what exactly constitute a stat request. I mean, I can just see everybody putting a stat stamp on all the regular orders.
yeah.
We're having problems with that already.
Yeah, good point, Sam. I really hadn't thought about that one. Okay, let's deal with that right here and now. Anybody got any suggestions?
Okay, I do.
Yeah, Jen.
I think one qualification should be that if someone's work is being held up waiting for a report that has never come in,
Finished. Beth, I finished my planning time for this morning. Would you come in, please, and bring your pad? There are a few things we need to go over. Oh, and ask Carol to take the calls, will you, please, so we won't be disturbed until we're through talking? Thank you.
You know, I'm beginning to like this business of your having some quiet planning time at the start of each day. It gives me a chance to get organized and make my own to-do list.
Well, I'm really glad. I wouldn't know where to start every morning if I didn't set down my priorities. All right, now this morning, I have a meeting with Sandy at 10 on a performance appraisal. And then from 11 to 12, I'm going to start work on the new departmental budget. So I'll need you to bring me the files for the past 3 years, if you will. I need to find out what's been acceptable before.
I've also kept the amounts requested each year. Would you like to see those also to compare what we asked for and what we got?
I sure would, Beth. Thanks a lot. Now, after lunch, I'm going to be meeting with some of the other supervisors. We've got to settle some interdepartmental billing. And then from 2 to 4, I have my supervisory training class, so I won't be getting back here until after 4. Have you had anything that's going to require my signature or, anything that you need me to look at?
No, I think they can wait. We're getting pretty well caught up, which is a first for this department.
Well, I'm glad of that because our next big project is that report that's due for Jim on Friday.
Oh.
And I'd like to get that finished by Thursday so I can go over it with the whole staff.
Shall I schedule a meeting for Thursday?
Yes, please do. Oh, type out a memorandum for my signature. I've already prepared an agenda to go along with it. I want the whole staff to be completely familiar with all the issues before the meeting on Thursday. Oh, and tell them that it will begin promptly at 10, and it'll probably be over about 10:45.
In the conference room, right?
That's right.
Let me take a look at this agenda, make sure it's all clear. Good, not too many items. It says here, everyone is to bring suggestions for reorganizing our space to cut down on noise, traffic, and distractions. That's great, Lynn. I've got a few thoughts about that myself.
Good. Write them down and bring them along on Thursday. I want the whole staff there, Beth, including you. Oh, and set up a meeting for me with just the payroll clerks at 10 on Friday. We've got to get to the bottom of this payroll errors. It's just awful.
Okay, oh, both meetings at 10, right?
Right. I found morning meetings are much more efficient and productive. People tend to get sluggish in the afternoon.
I thought it was just me who got sleepy after lunch.
No, I think everybody does. Oh, now, please let me know if anybody can't come to the meetings. And I'm going to have to finish my work to get ready for Sandy. So if you'll ask Carol to keep holding my calls till after 11.
Okay, sure thing, Lynn. And I'll get this memo and agenda out before noon.
All right, fine. Thank you.
So you see, Bert, I've been enjoying it here too much. My God, everyone's so friendly. I've never had such an easy time working into a new company. But it's creating all sorts of problems for me. I can't get any work done because people keep stopping by my desk to talk. The phone keeps ringing off the hook. I mean, it's turning into Grand Central Station around here. And having an open office area like this doesn't help either. Well, what am I going to do?
Well, Paul, I'm glad to see you've been accepted so readily by the folks around here. I kind of thought that would happen. And I've been getting some good feedback about you through the grapevine.
Yeah, well, you were right. I mean, there are some great people around here, but I've got to do something about all these interruptions. You know, I've got 12 performance appraisals to do in the next 2 weeks, and one of them is overdue already.
That's serious, Paul. Look, why don't you get some of those portable partitions to go around your office? I think 3 of them ought to do it. That ought to give you the privacy you need for your performance appraisals and your coaching and counseling sessions.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe that would cut down the temptation that people have for stopping by and talking. I tell you what else. I could put one of those signs up on the partitions, you know, that says, "Stay away, genius at work."
Right. Now, about your phone problems. Now, I found some things that have helped me a lot, if you'd be interested.
Hey, look, at this point, I'll take anything. I mean, it's quiet now, but that's only because I knew you were coming in here, and I had Carol take all the calls. Otherwise...
Oh, well, shoot, that's a great start. I think you'll find our secretaries are a big help. Now, when I need some quiet time, without interruption, I just have Carol screen my calls, taking a message from everyone but the boss, and then I return them all at once, trying to hit the half hour before lunch and the half hour before quitting time.
Well, why is that?
Well, people aren't likely to talk as long.
Hey, now that's a good idea. I'll tell you something I've noticed about you, Bert. You're real businesslike on the phone. I mean, you don't seem to shoot the bull much.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's really a waste of time, unless it's real interesting. No, I make my calls like I make my best reports. First, I say what I'm calling about, then I talk about it, and then at the end, I summarize what our main points were.
Hey, I've noticed that too. I can tell. When I hear that old summary coming up, I can tell we're at the end of the conversation and we're not going to talk much longer.
Right. So you don't feel cut off, do you?
No, but it does discourage me from hanging on there. I just wish I could do the same thing about these people stopping by my desk.
Yeah, I have the same problem. Maybe we could work on it together. Maybe our phone hints would help with our friendly office drop-ins.
You mean like find out right away what they want, and then what I can do to help them?
Yeah, that's good. And the next thing you do is get rid of this comfortable chair so I won't be tempted to settle in it for such a long spell.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but I've got a better one. If someone wants to see me, I can go to their space. Then when I got ready, I could just get up and leave.
Nice idea.
Shall we review?
I think I'm beginning to get the hint.
I tell you what, Bert, why don't we both make lists of what we talked about, and that way we won't forget any of them.
You got yourself a deal.
One of the most difficult things to learn in life is how to say no without feeling guilty. Sometimes we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, or perhaps we're just plain flattered that someone asked us to do something. At other times, we may truly want to help. But often, when we're unable to say no, we find ourselves heaped with things to do that don't necessarily fit into accomplishing our goals or match up with our priorities. Let's listen to our supervisors as they learn to say no without guilt and without hurting anyone's feelings. After each segment, evaluate the approach in terms of its effectiveness and its practicality for you.
I'm sorry, Jim. I don't think I'm going to be able to help you out this time. I'm swamped with meetings all week, and I have that status report that's due to you on Friday, and I don't see how I could handle this and get everything done on time. Now, if you want me to put the status report on the back burner for a couple of weeks, I could manage.
No, can't do that. Your status report is part of mine, which is due to the controllers on Monday.
Thought it was kind of high priority. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to help you out this time.
Miss Hall. Yes, I'm returning your call about being on the compensation committee. Well, it's a great honor, but I don't think I've been here long enough to be familiar with other jobs in the company. I'm still trying to learn my own. But yes, I understand, and I'd like to help you, but I don't think I can handle any more right now. What about Mary Simpson, the other supervisor in the department? Well, sure, I'll put in a good word for you.
Hey, Dave. Look, I just got your note this morning. You wanted to borrow our fluoroscope, right? Uh-huh. Look, I'd really like to help you on this one, man, but this machine is just too delicate to move. Oh, yeah. I know how badly you need it. But see, my team uses it at least 3 times a week. Yeah. No, hey, I'll tell you what. Call purchasing. I think we might have an old one in the warehouse in storage. And if so, I'll support you in getting it okayed for your department. You know. Yeah, it will need a little rehabilitation, but I think I can get somebody to help you on that one, too. No, that's okay. Okay, buddy. Let me know what happens, will you? No, it's okay. Thank you. Bye.